Now then, explorers, welcome to Shaun Explores Kit Review Thursday. This week we're going to be looking at one of the latest additions to my kit, and that is the Thermarest Questar 0F18C sleeping bag. Now don't worry, this isn't its stuff sack, this is just its storage sack. So what we'll do, we'll get it out of the sack, we'll show you some of its features, we'll show you it in its stuff sack to show you how small it compresses down to, we'll explain why you need a separate stuff sack with it being a down sleeping bag, and we'll answer that all important question, is it any good? So one of the first things you're going to notice about a down sleeping bag, if you've never had a down sleeping bag before, is the storage sack. It is massive compared to your standard synthetic bag. However, they do compress down quite a lot more. What we'll do is we'll compare this one compressed down with this one later. Now the reason behind why you have to have such a big storage sack with down sleeping bags, it's literally to allow it to loft when it's being stored. It protects the feathers. If you store this compressed, what it'll do is it'll damage the feathers, it won't loft anywhere near as good, and you'll essentially ruin your sleeping bag. So in pursuit of this sleeping bag, something that was going to be super toasty for the winter and something with lots of room for the outside, I put a post on Facebook. I'll let you have a quick look at that now. Anyway, a guy called Gareth came to the rescue. He'd actually bought one of these Thermarest Questar sleeping bags and highly recommended it for warmth and also for fit. This particular sleeping bag has a feature called WARM, and WARM is an acronym for with additional room for additional maneuvers. So one of the first things I noticed about this sleeping bag when I first got it out and let it loft up was this. The foot box is so much higher than everything else, and the reason behind that is Thermarest have packed this area with extra down to make a really warm foot box, and I've got to say it works tremendously well. First time I used this, I was out in the woods in -4 degrees all day doing work on the permission camp. When it came to the evening, I jumped in the bag, put fresh socks on, and my feet were toasty within a couple of minutes. So it really does go to show how warm that foot box is. Moving up the bag, you've got a nice couple of labels on it. Nice Thermarest logo here. It is a left-hand side zip, as you can see. And it has really, really big baffles inside. So it has a big, thick baffle for the neck, front and back, and a nice big baffle for the hood as well. So you can get really cozy in there and lock in all the heat. It also has a nice little additional zip here, so you can put things inside. If you want to, you can put your phone in there, whatever. I tend to put my phone and electricals inside the sleeping bag with me, just to keep them warm on a cold night. But there's that much room in the thing, it does give you that option. So this particular version is a long version, and it does give you a slightly wider diameter as well as length. So the long version externally works out at around 80 centimeters wide. Now, as I said earlier, I've got fairly broad shoulders and I come in at 54 centimeters, so 80 centimeters just goes to show you the kind of room that you get in this bag. Flipping the sleeping bag over reveals a nice little party trick for this sleeping bag. It has these connections on the back, little toggles, little connections at the top and bottom, and Thermarest supply you with these straps. And what you do, you connect these straps to these toggles, and the idea is you can wrap it around your sleeping mat and secure it, so when you do roll over, the bag isn't going anywhere. Now unfortunately, the straps don't give you enough room to go around the back of my sleeping mat. I've got the Thermarest NeoAir X-Firm Max. It is renowned to be a very, very wide sleeping mat, so you know, if you have something like the Thermarest Z-Lite, you may get it around that, but one of the smaller sleep mats, you should have no problem. So as mentioned, I do toss and turn in my sleep quite a bit. It's the reason why I was looking for a wide bag. Now, when I have slept in this sleeping bag, as normal, I've tossed and turned, fetal position, on my back, even on my front, and I didn't get tangled up in it, and that's without the straps, so they're not exactly needed. So the sleeping bag is a 650 fill, hydroscopic down. And what that means, hydroscopic down basically means that you can get it wet and it'll still offer you a level of protection. Now I don't advise you to get down sleeping bags wet because it can be a nightmare to dry, especially on multi-day trips. So you want to look at keeping this thing dry. So we'll take a little look at the zip. So you have this little popper here to help keep things closed in the middle of the night. Again, if you're wriggling, but this bag's that loose on you, I can't see it opening the zip. Next, what Thermarest have done is they've actually added this plastic little thing around the zip. So you've got a standard zip in here and a plastic thing around it. And what that's for is to stop it getting jammed. So we'll zip it right down and see if it lives up to its expectation. No problems. So as I mentioned, this sleeping bag is a 650 fill. 650 fill can be quite heavy, but this particular bag only weighs 1.38 kilograms. And the reason behind that is because Thermarest have been really clever. If you look at the top, you'll see how thick it is and how much loft you have. It's really thick and it's absolutely stuffed with feathers. However, Thermarest know that on a down sleeping bag, when you compress the lower layer, it doesn't actually offer any protection at all. So they haven't filled the bottom as much. They've been really clever with the fill on this one. As I mentioned earlier, they've filled the footbox absolutely ram-packed with feathers to offer instant thermal protection. The base, not so much, because it would be a waste and a waste of weight. The hood, absolutely jam-packed. And again, the top, all the way down the legs, down to your footbox. It is a baffled construction, so the feathers will stay where they need to be. They won't tend to move around in the bag. As I mentioned earlier about the neck baffles, look how thick that thing is. You're not losing any heat through there, and it does continue around onto the front as well. So when you're inside, what you can do, zip yourself in, you can pull this cord and get yourself mega toasty. Now I don't think I'd have it that tight, but it does go to show with the baffles all the way round, you're not getting cold in there. So as the name of the bag would suggest, the Questar 0F -18C. Now -18C is actually the limit on this bag. The comfort rating is -10, and it'll obviously keep you warm-ish down to -18. It doesn't give an extreme rating on this bag, but I think I can forgive Thermarest with its limit being down at -18 anyway. So now's the moment you've all been waiting for. This is a part where I actually get in the sleeping bag and show you when I'm moving about and rolling about in it. Excuse me if it doesn't look too elegant. So the length of this bag is absolutely massive. As I mentioned, I'm 6'4". If I put my feet right to the bottom of it, we'll see where my head gets to. It's also got an internal toggle for you to pull the zip up, as you'd expect. And I fit in that nice and snug. Now my arms are down by my side. I've got absolutely no issues, plenty of room. As I mentioned about being able to roll over in it, go on your side. I'm now in the fetal position. Fetal position, no issues. It's not as restrictive as your normal mummy bags would be. You can just move about in it. And this is exactly what I like. So I'm going to put the hood up and see how long I can stay in. Starting to sweat already. It's a really, really hot bag. I wonder if I could stand up in this without ripping it. No, that's asking for punishment. Right, I'm too hot. I've got to get out of here. Ooh. I think that was about 20 seconds. Look at this state. Sweating my head off. I'll be back in a minute. Whew, that was hot. I've just had a nice refreshing beer to cool me down. So, as earlier said, the sleeping bag does come with a stuff sack. It's a compression stuff sack. and see how it compares to my old OX 5 EV400. Now the thing to remember is, synthetic doesn't compress as much as down. However, the limit that we found for this sleeping bag in my review was actually around 4 degrees. Now I've been -4 degrees in this one, and I've been super toasty, and I've every faith that Thermarest have got it right when they say this will keep you comfortable, comfort level of -10 degrees. Right, so I've already compressed the OX bag down. That's what we're going to compare it against. I don't know why, two completely different bags, but it might give you an idea of what this one's like. So without repeating myself too much, do not store your down sleeping bag like this. It's okay to pack away for a short period of time while you're going out camping, multi-day hikes, etc. But when you get home, you want to take it out the bag, either put it in its stuff sack, hang it up on a coat hanger, just let it loft, let it breathe. Storing it like this will damage your bag. So I guess the limitation to this review is that I haven't actually taken it down to -10. That's a lot to do with lockdown. I did have a winter camp planned in the snow just between Christmas and New Year in the Peak District, but unfortunately I ended up with a dicky stomach. Otherwise this would have got the full treatment and you'd have been able to know. But I have taken it down to -4 degrees and it was absolutely spot on. As I said, I didn't wake up at all. I usually wake up wrapped up in my sleeping bag, tangled up a bit from time to time. Don't get me wrong, I do get a good sleep pretty much every time I'm out camping, but in this particular one, I had no issues and I slept right the way through, so I'm really happy with that. Now down to the cost. So I've got the long version, again, because I'm long, and I paid £266 from EcoSport UK. However, they're not a UK company. So EcoSport are great. I have bought off them before. They do have great prices. They're more reliable than the likes of Go Outdoors and Blacks, as you'll know at the minute. You order something off them websites and you get an email about a week or so later saying they're not in stock. Didn't have any problems with EcoSport and I haven't in the past. It's up to you where you get it from. If you do fancy buying this bag, just shop around and make sure you get a good price. But the benchmark, I paid $266. The 2020 RRP for this sleeping bag is £320. So if you can get yourself a good deal, then happy days. So overall, I absolutely love the sleeping bag. I've got nothing bad to say about it so far. So I have used it 3 times since I've had it. If anything bad does come back up, I will mention it on a future Shaun Explores Kit Review Thursday episode. So thanks for watching the first of the Shaun Explores Kit Review Thursdays. If you liked the video, please give us a thumbs up. If you've got any further questions about the bag that I haven't gone into that I might be able to answer for you, bang a comment in the comment box. If you want to be reminded for future Shaun Explores videos, please click the subscribe button and the bell notification and you'll be reminded. Nice one. Oosh.